just Caroline Heldman, and in San Diego, talk radio host and Trump supporter Gina Loudon. Thank you both for being with us. Okay, so the president, he promised to unify the country. For the most part, he's done that with universal outrage, it seems. So Gina, I want to start with you. We know hitting back, that's the president's MO, but that's one thing. But in just 50 words, it seems he's described Mika Brzezinski as stupid, mentally disturbed, vain, someone who may or may not have had a facelift. It just seems that presidents don't talk like that.
Yes, and I don't know Mika, and I can't claim to have ever watched her show in totality, but I can say that in my research today in preparation for tonight, I saw a litany of things that she said about him. Some of them are pretty harsh, and I don't know that they're altogether journalistic. I'm not sure that's her goal necessarily, but if we're going to talk about misogyny, I think we also have to talk about misandry, which is the opposite of that, and some of the references she's made were rather emasculating toward the President of the United States. And so I don't mind us having this conversation, but I think that the conversation needs to go both ways. It's not only women who can be hurt by conversations, and certainly she fired first many, many times. And we know that this president is the president, and the Americans elected him as such, a person who, if you hit him, he's going to hit back, just exactly like was said today in the White House conference.
So, Gina, just to be clear, you defend the president and you agree with the tweet this morning. You think it was wholly appropriate for him to make that tweet?
Like I said, I don't know Mika at all.
We don't have to know Mika,
I've never watched her show. I've never met her in person.
You don't have to know Mika to, but you don't have to know her.
But
you don't have to know her to weigh in on that.
But I think that if we're going to ask the question, what is appropriate conversation, I think it starts with the rather sexist things that she said over and over.
What has she said, Gina?
Things she
what has she said? Gina, what is one thing that she has said that's sexist? And by the way, that wouldn't justify it, but what do you have? Because emasculation is not the same thing as misandry. And the President of the United States is actually held to a very different standard than people who are hosts on a talk show where they get to share their opinion. So just to be clear, you are supporting the President of the United States making incredibly sexist comments.
Absolutely, I am not saying that sexist comments are right at all by anyone, but I think that we have to have both sides of the conversation to have honest dialogue. I think you have to have both sides of the conversation. Don't tell me what I did, and maybe you're slamming the victim, because again, these conversations go both ways.
Donald Trump is the victim here?
Is not paying attention.
Is that what we're going with? Donald, you're arguing that Donald Trump is the victim here?
I think that America is not paying attention to this hyper rhetoric right now, because America's worried about their jobs, and he's creating them. And America's worried about open pipelines and illegal immigration and the things that he is actually working on.
Okay, so we know Donald Trump is the counterpuncher. We saw a lot of that during the last year's election campaign. Here's a sample.
Little Marco. I think Jeb is a nice person. He's very low energy. I'm not used to that kind of a person. He is Lion Ted. I came up with the idea, but you have to spell it right. It's L-Y-I-N apostrophe, Lion Ted. The Bible held high. He puts it down and then he lies.
All those attacks were on men. It seems it gets a lot more personal when the target is a woman.
One of the things people love about you is you speak your mind and you don't use a politician's filter. However, that is not without its downsides, in particular when it comes to women. You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
No, it wasn't.
You could see there was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever.
During an interview with Rolling Stone last year, Donald Trump disparaged presidential candidate Carly Fiorina, asking, look at that face, would anyone vote for that face? He retweeted an unflattering photograph of Ted Cruz's wife with the caption, the images are worth 1,000 words. He's also called female reporters bimbos, that kind of thing. So, Gina, how do you explain the difference here?
Well, then your issue is with middle America who elected this president, not with this president. This is exactly who he's always been. This is exactly who he will always be. He's broken the mold. And while some people out there want to talk a lot about words, you know, I think he wants to talk about how to actually help make America great again. That's what he's talked about from the beginning. He talks about actions while the others are talking about words. And then people get frustrated because the rhetoric falls on deaf ears.
Let's talk about actions. Let's talk about actions.
This is a president who took a look. This is a president who took a look at the
I'd like to jump in here and talk about some of the things he's harmed,
like
let's Caroline have a word in. Okay, Caroline, your turn.
Sure.
You brought up actions. Okay, so he gutted family planning, which disproportionately affects women across the globe through the UN. His health care proposal, the one he endorses in the Senate, disproportionately affects women. It does not save lives. 22 million people, fewer people not insured. I mean, come on. The Harvard study confirms that we're talking perhaps upwards of 27,000 lives in 2026 alone. Look at the Harvard study. In addition to that, he's also gutted the Title IX enforcement to protect campus sexual assault and rape survivors. He actually blamed the high rates of rape and sexual assault in the military on women being involved in the military. So his actions speak very loud. And I'll just add one more statistic. Half the workforce is women. President Obama appointed 43% women when he made his appointments. Donald Trump, 27%. He is hiring 3 men for every 1 woman he puts in his cabinet. So his actions match his words.
Gina, is it difficult as a woman to defend the president with that kind of record?
No, your statistics are completely off. And anyway, middle America,
you can look them up. It's easy to look them up. Everybody has the internet.
Your statistics are exactly the reasons this president was elected and the reason he is successful and will continue to be successful, because America is tired of the race baiting, the gender baiting, the division, the constant division. We are one America, and we're not really concerned about dividing people
Gina,
up into little pieces.
People are not upset because
for power
data
and
doesn't
money,
lie.
because we know
people
that's
are not
where
upset
you're going
over
with this.
data. People are not upset because data is widely available. Everybody should Google the statistics that I just offered. You can easily find them. Even you, Gina, can go home this evening and look at them.
are not citable.
27%.
No, the American people voted against the kind of division that you are trying to incite right here. You look it up. I know that taxpayers pay for those abortions, and the taxpayers are tired of it and don't want to do it anymore. And this president has answered that call. I know that unemployment is at a 17-year low.
I have to get in there. It's Paul.
That illegal immigration is at a 17-year
so if we just jump in.
We just want to jump in. Thank you both. It is a debate that is sure to continue, unfortunately.
I could keep going with this all night because it is interesting, and we appreciate Gina coming on as well as Caroline. And obviously, this is a conversation and a debate a lot of people are having all around the country and many parts of the world.